The government in Ethiopia denied being under threat by a new alliance of rebel groups who want to see an end to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed rule. On Friday, 9 rebel groups announced a new alliance against the government and threatened to march towards the capital, Addis Ababa. The government says that it's working on some precautionary measures.
However, the government is still taking some precautionary measures. We have credible intelligence indicating that the TPLF might try to orchestrate some sort of havoc within the city, not only in Addis, but other parts of the country as well. So taking into account this kind of information, the TPLF has to withdraw from the Amara and Afar regions, where it's brutalizing innocent civilians. It has no business, none whatsoever, being in these parts of the country.
For the past year, the Ethiopian government has been involved in fighting in the north of the country against the Tigray People's Liberation Front rebel group.
Tunisia issued an international arrest warrant for former President Monsef Mazuki Thursday over accusation that he undermined a North African country's security, a top Tunisian court said. The court did not provide any further explanation on the charges. Mazuki has been staying in France in the past month and has repeatedly appeared on TV stations and on social networks to call on the removal of the president, whom he described as a dictator. Current President Kais Saied said last month that he was withdrawing the diplomatic passport of Mazuki after he encouraged France to stop support for Tunisia under Said's leadership. Critics of Said say that he orchestrated what amounted to a coup in July and is trying to consolidate power and discredit political opponents.
Tunisian President Kais Saied has called for citizens to help bail out the state coffers to overcome the financial crisis that shakes the country against a backdrop of political uncertainty. President Saied made the call on Thursday while presiding over a cabinet meeting. There is a crisis, no one doubts it, but we will overcome. We will overcome this crisis with hard work and the involvement of all citizens in getting out of this. I call on all Tunisians, both in Tunisia and abroad, to find the necessary funds. President Said did not give details on the nature of the contribution or the means of its implementation. Tunisia's financial difficulties were worsened by Said's power grab on July 25 when he dismissed the government and suspended parliament. In early October, the central bank's board of directors expressed concern about the acute drying up of external financial resources. Police in Uganda say they have recovered explosives and other weapons during a search in the capital Kampala near the site of last month's explosion in a restaurant that killed a waitress. A suicide belt, explosive, and an AK-47 rifle that didn't have a serial number with 14 rounds of ammunition were found. Several suspects were also arrested from the area, and one was shot dead as he allegedly tried to escape by jumping off a police pickup vehicle, according to the police. On Monday, police said that they had arrested 48 people in connection with the 2 separate blasts, including one which is said to have been carried out by a suicide bomber. The government blames the October explosions on the Democratic Republic of Congo-based militant group, the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF.
The International Monetary Fund and Zambia on Thursday initiated a conversation on an aid package to bail the Southern African country from the debt it owes its creditors. The €12.7 billion foreign debt led the Southern African country to default during the COVID-19 pandemic. Zambia's debt is unsustainable, therefore the IMF would need sufficient funding assurances from creditors before an agreement on an extended credit facility could be made, according to IMF spokesperson Jerry Rice. The Zambian government hopes to obtain support from the Washington-based institution in the coming weeks, which would speed up negotiations with the country's creditor to restructure its debt. On Friday, the new government announced its plans to stabilize the country's finances, presenting a new budget to the international donors on its crippling debt.